Hello and welcome to another TV Central podcast. I'm Aaron Ryan. It is the show that brought the most traffic to this site and actually was responsible for the site going offline a couple of times. It is Junior MasterChef. Joining me here for this podcast is Director of Programming at Shine Australia, the makers of the show, Paul Franklin. Paul, thanks for joining me here at TV Central.
Thanks for chatting to me, Aaron. Thanks.
No worries. Okay, as I mentioned, the show created a little bit of a meltdown on our site. Look, we can't be the only one. How much feedback are you getting about the show in terms of online traffic on the official website? Has it generated more than the parent show?
Well, it's certainly it's kicked off a fair bit of interest in the official website. I don't know the exact numbers compared with the parent show. I know the main show was having a huge amount of hits, certainly with Series 1 and Series 2. I mean, a lot of the feedback from the TV production side of things, which has been interesting, is ever since the original Junior MasterChef promo went out back in July, the amount of it got posted on YouTube, and I ended up fielding a lot of calls from the international market because broadcasters in places like Greece and France were tapping into it, seeing it online and going, oh, all right, there's a new version out there, quick, we want it, how can we get it, kind of thing. I was like, well, hang on, guys, we haven't quite finished it yet. I found that was quite amazing just within the industry that that shows were potentially being commissioned on the basis of a YouTube clip, which was really encouraging. Yeah.
Well, you just said part of your job is taking calls from overseas and stuff. Tell us more about your background and where you've come from and joining Shine Australia.
Well, my connection with the MasterChef brand kind of stems back from way back in 2008 when I was working at Fremantle Media as head of factual. There, I travelled out to England when the MasterChef was commissioned with Channel 10, which was late in 2008. Spent some time with the team at Shine in the UK, watching them make the show, trying to pick the eyes out of what made the show work, and which was really was the food was the central I suppose topic more so than any other shows that sort of in the cooking genre up until that point in the UK I'd say, and then bringing it back and adapting that for the first Channel 10 series as executive producer on that, and it was really a case of trying to work out. We knew we wanted, being 6 days a week, we wanted something that was big, had more of the sort of US style reality, razzle dazzle entertainment element, more than the UK one anyway. So I was involved in that first series, and then at the end of last year, I left Fremantle Media Australia, and I took a role as a consultant for Shine Media Group in the UK, which was a fascinating 6 months of my life, basically travelling as a kind of ambassador for the MasterChef brand, and spent a lot of time in Los Angeles working on the US version with Gordon Ramsay, and also travelled to France and Norway helping them start up, and actually not that long ago I was in India, which was quite amazing, getting MasterChef India up and going, which I think they're filming at the moment actually. So hopefully that's going well for them. So yeah, it's been the first 6 months of this year was very busy for me travel wise, and then since starting at Shine Australia, so in July, I've been working on the junior version here. So yeah, very MasterChef intensive year so far.
Probably an easier question is asking you where you haven't been by the sounds of it, because they've been everywhere. Lots of travel there.
Look, a lot of travel, and it's off the back of the Australian version, the first Australian version, and with the success now of the US, the Gordon Ramsay one, which has now been recommissioned in a second series for Fox in America. I mean, it's just recently Israel's picked it up and started filming. I mean, it's in about, I think it's about between 12 and 14 countries now have not just taken the tape format, but actually taken the adapted format for their own territories, which is great, and it's ever growing almost on a weekly basis. Countries are picking it up, and look, a lot of that stems from the success of the Australian series. It gives broadcasters confidence that if it can work there, and then seeing it work in other countries such as the US and France and places like that, just gives them a bit more security when they commission their local versions. So yeah.
All right, well, let's start with the origin of the show, Junior MasterChef. There is, of course, the parent show, and it did have a spin-off, Celebrity MasterChef, that sort of had modest ratings. Was Junior MasterChef born out of the fact that the celebrity version was not massively supported, or was it always on the drawing board to do a Junior MasterChef?
Look, Junior MasterChef had been talked about ever since I can remember, actually, that I've been involved in the show from when we were working on our very first series, and partly in the sense that the UK made they're now on their second junior version. They made their first one at the start of this year, and it was always thought this is a good idea. It's certainly, I think MasterChef brings an element of kids to the kitchen that the parent one does anyway. So in the UK they made it was more geared towards an afternoon BBC audience, so more of a younger audience, and was airing it for sort of 4 o'clock in the afternoon. The Australian Junior MasterChef is a different beast, I guess, in the sense that it's geared 7:30 at night. Look, it's still geared for a younger audience, but I think it's more of a family audience. It's kids and adults that can sit and watch it and be entertained, and that was always our aim. So look, Celebrity MasterChef, which I was across as well last year at Fremantle. I think it just came out of the blocks very quickly off the back of the main series. And look, the celebrity version in the UK is actually incredibly popular. And look, relatively to certainly other shows on 10, it was kind of successful, Celebrity, but it never saw the success, the dizzying heights of the main series. So look, it wasn't a reason for Junior. If Celebrity was more successful, maybe we would have looked at doing another one of those. But to answer your question, I think Junior MasterChef just felt like a fresh way to go. It was a new take on it. The UK also have another version, which is MasterChef the Professionals, and that is a highly popular version of the show in the UK, where they take real chefs. I mean, they're not 4 or 5 star or whatever hatted chefs or anything like that. They're sort of chefs who have either got a lot of experience, but never have sort of punched through to a higher level, or they're young chefs who are sort of trying to make a name for themselves. But again, it's a different show, so MasterChef plays out in a lot of different styles, I guess, of the format. So yeah.
Yeah, you sort of answered this question a little bit in that answer you gave, but just sort of to clarify, is Celebrity MasterChef dead, or is there still talk of it may return next year? Or
well, dead's a pretty heavy term to lay on a show, but look, I think at the moment, I can't speak for Channel 10. I don't think there's any intentions for Celebrity to go again next year. I mean, we'll see what happens over the next 4 or 5 weeks with the ratings, I guess, for Junior. I don't want to say it's dead. That sounds a bit harsh. But there's no talk at the moment about it coming back, put it that way.
All right. Look, I just wanted to make a personal comment before we get on to the kids, just with the show in general. I just want to say how good is Anna Gare. She would have to be one of the most warmest, genuine, friendly and captivating people on television. She's great with the kids and a professional as well. I just want to tell me about the feedback you're receiving about Anna. Is it the same as mine, or is... No,
it's kind of, I suppose broadly everyone feels that she just adds, it's kind of like a freshness to the show. Not that there was anything wrong with the show anyway, but it just, I think, the fact she's a mum, 4 kids and all the rest. She's comes from a catering background, which is a different background again from the chefs and the food critic. She's a lovely person in person to work with. She just gets what the show is. She's I find her really effortless on camera to watch. And it's funny because the show doesn't have a host, but it's shared responsibilities across all the judges, and I think she brings a bit of sparkle to the lineup, and don't get me wrong, the boys are fantastic, but it just adds a layer, I think, for mine. And she's lovely, and everyone same thing, they just think she's fantastic. So it's great.
Any chance that you're going to use her again, either in the parent show or in some other form?
Look, I think if Junior MasterChef plays again, next year or something, she would definitely be in the lineup for that. Look, at this stage with the parent show, I don't think there's any intention for her to step in a full-time role or anything like that. I don't know. They're only at the casting stage for the third series of the Parents Show. But I wouldn't be surprised if she pops up here or there. But no, I think Junior MasterChef is kind of her territory where I think we're going to see a fair bit of in years to come, hopefully. So.
Oh, she's great. Okay, so let's get into it. Junior MasterChef. These kids are insane. It's absolutely captivating to watch 8 to 12-year-olds making dishes. Some of them that I've never heard of. They're brilliant, talented, and very engaging to watch. Just tell me about the selection process and how you managed to find such a great bunch of kids.
Look, we went about it, well, in some ways similar to the main show. There's this casting process that takes place. So there's applications that you fill in on a website, and then they come along, and the selected few. And I think in person, the casting team saw. I think they did 5 cities, so it probably was around 600-700 at a guess.
Wow.
Of those 5,500 that applied, and the casting process is pretty simple. They come in, they bring something in that prepared themselves, and then if we're interested in them, we then get them to cook something quite simple. Interestingly, I think the casting team got them to cook just a simple pancake, which initially I was like, well, pancake, what's that going to show? And they said, actually, it's really key, because if they can show good understanding of measurements of ingredients, it'll give a good indication of, how much they get mixing ingredients and measuring them out, and that'll give us a good advantage on just what their skills are like. So, and then look, really, it came down to the best. I mean, I think it's been reported, and everyone can tell you. We focus on the positive with the kids on Junior MasterChef.
Yep.
And I think it feels terrible to do anything otherwise. It's more less competition, I like to think, and more celebration of cooking. In fact, they're at a young age. But from that point of view, they've got to be able to cook. So with the casting, they cast for their skills, because they need to be at the top of their game to take part, and we knew that would be the thing that for the audiences would just wow them to see kids so young cooking at such a high standard. So, yeah. Yeah,
look, let me ask you about a observation. I was going to say a conspiracy, but no, it's an observation. I'm just wondering, there were so many dishes in the top 24 that looked awesome, and obviously from the 4 heats, only 3 made it from each heat. So, as an example, if there were, say, 6 of the dishes that were equally as good as the next, and there was almost nothing in it in terms of the actual dish, do the judges then move to personality as a second consideration? I'm just wondering if, maybe their cheeky disposition or personality would suit television and the competition more so than the next kid.
No, look, it's down to the dishes, and I think if you look at the parent version of the show, depending on the number, if there's 24 of them, say, in the main ensemble that get through, you look for variety. I mean, 24 is such a high number that you want people who represent different, backgrounds and different cooking skills and things like that. But I think with Junior, the judges have a huge say anyway. But with Junior, they had the total. We cleared the freeway, so to speak, to let them pick the best cooks, because it comes back to what I just said, I guess. We decided from the outset that was going to be the thing that would have made, whether the kids are cheeky or cute or whatever, if they can't cook, that's the heart of the show. So, from that point of view, I mean, I would say if the judges were faced with, say, 2 dishes that were very similar, the only consideration they might make is going forward. Based on this dish, do we think they're going to show more ability going forward? If the dishes were, like for like and hard to pick between, that would probably be the consideration they'd take. But I mean, other than that, no, it's all down to the skills.
Yeah. I mean, but with those personalities, you've definitely got some in there. Anthony, Jack, Cassidy, and Sam. They just stood out. But look, let me ask you about some if you can tell me about some of the considerations or changes you had to make for the show compared to the parent show. So I'm talking about things like film duration or kids using sharp utensils. Was there anything that had to be changed compared to the parent
Yeah,
show?
there was a huge amount. We engaged with a sort of child guardian body to monitor everything we did. And this is primarily from just a timing point of view, because we weren't allowed to film with them. We could only film with them for a certain period of time throughout a day overall, and then throughout that day there'd be certain moments along the way that we might be able to film with them for an hour, and then they've got to have a break. That's simple as that. So it was all balanced out so that they would have enough time for breaks in between the cooking. And if they turn up at 9:30 in the morning, then at 6:30 that will be the end of their day, and they'll have breaks during the day. But if they turn up at 9:30 and we're not ready to go, it's like, well, that's fine, but the clock's running, kind of thing. So it actually really refined our editorial thinking on what we needed and what we wanted to get out of what we were shooting. I mean, with the parent show, there can be some quite long days and a bit of overtime incurred and all the rest, but not with this, because we had to go into it even more prepared than the main show. So there was the consideration of hours, but then also things such as knife skills. We got it's tricky with knives because you want the safest, but you also they can't be blunt because they won't be able to cut properly with them. And so it's what we would do is we'd give them all of them got similar kind of knife lessons beforehand. With the actual cooking, like things such as the hot plates, they were induction, they weren't gas. There was probably a much bigger team actually of safety personnel on the sidelines watching them. Usually on the main show you have one person to keep an eye on everyone, but with ours it was like about six
Wow.
people, so one per two kids to watch them and make sure that if they're starting to head towards something that could be dangerous, to step in and stop them. So it's the attention to detail was tenfold almost to the main show. And the main show is very safe, but little things such as, depending on their heights, they'd be given a platform to stand on, and the platform will be big enough that they couldn't step backwards and fall off or anything like that. And look, it worked really well. I mean, just through the safety team behind the scenes, and even the production crew. We had some great people who worked on the main show, and we had some fresh people as well who came in, and they just got the fact that this is all about the kids. This is all about them enjoying themselves, having a good time, feeling free to be themselves, and get the best out of them. And that really was, I mean, even in some of the heats, you'd get to the end, and one of them might not have finished, and one of the judges would walk up and say, "Look, you put these last couple of things on the plate. That's fine." We want to see the best. We want to see the absolute best from everyone. So, but yeah, I suppose coming back to the main point of your question, it was quite a massive undertaking, and it's with quite often with TV shows, what tends to happen is you create a Bible for a show, and then you hand that out when it goes to other territories. And with this one, with the Bible we've created or are creating still is a very extensive one, so that if Greece or France want to make it, we go, well, here's how you make it, and here's everything you've got to consider about the safety of the kids, right through to dealing with their parents, to how long they should be doing things. It's been a massive undertaking, and a really exciting one too, which has been great.
That actually turned into a more interesting question than I thought. I mean, who would have thought that they would have, a platform for a kid, and then it's put at a level so that if they step back, they don't fall off. It's actually quite interesting, the amount of stuff that actually goes into all of that.
Well, you've got to consider all that kind of stuff. It's there's a lot of detail there, but anyway, sorry, go on.
So how much input do the parents have into the show, or do they just sort of sit back on the sidelines and?
Look, you would have seen through the top 50 where the parents are in the bleachers watching on. Once we get to the MasterChef kitchen, the parents don't feature on camera. Although, you probably see them depending on who gets through to the final, but you'll see them possibly at the end there. But it becomes more about the top 12 and following them through their journey. Having said that, the parents are obviously on the sidelines, behind the cameras. for the ones who live in Sydney where we film, they would go home, but then you've got the interstate ones who would go back to an apartment, and they have one or both of their parents there or guardians there looking after them. So it's more of a supportive behind the scenes kind of role that they take with following them through the top 12 and at the MasterChef kitchen.
Mm. Look, I'm hearing that there's some changes on the way that'll be revealed on the program this Sunday at 7:30. Hoping to have a chat about some of those. I hear that the eliminations will be different to normal. Can you tell me about that?
Well, we kind of it's not really elimination. It's more of a case of going through the next stage. Is like the way we put it. I suppose people think of them as eliminations, but we've tried to structure it in a way, and we have structured it in a way that as they go through and are successful, those that are unsuccessful, I guess, when they do leave the program, they don't leave by themselves. So you never have a single person that's leaving the show and not continuing on. And we've really pushed the sense that it's more of a supportive role that each of the contestants play for each other, whether they get through, and they're always really encouraging to each other when they succeed, which is really nice. But then also, for those that don't get through to the next stage, it's the ones that do get through that, again, they're supportive, but also I think they find it harder, the fact that they're continuing on in the game and they're friends, and they the amount of time they spent together, the kids all became friends. That they're leaving is kind of was in a way is a tougher thing. But no, it's a real focus on the positive and a sense that no one leaves alone kind of thing when they do leave the show.
Great. I'm hearing that the leaderboard and point system will be different. How will the scoring and point system work?
Look, generally what happens is there's usually with each of the episodes that are playing on a Sunday and Monday night, there's a couple of challenges that take place in each episode. And what we thought the fairest way to go forward is have the best awarded. So what will happen is if the 12 are competing, the first three people get special points. So if you come first, you get 6 points. If you come second, you get 4 points. And if you come third, you get 2. Having said that, everyone else gets a point because they took part, and had a go. And so that's kind of been the way we've worked forward with the scores to make it feel fair. And look, even along the way, in some of the challenges, as you'll see, it's kind of like if someone's improved incredibly, well, they might get an extra point as well. It's kind of it's not far removed from I guess watching the kids play a game of soccer or footy or netball, and like where you get most improved on the team kind of thing. So we've kind of adopted that kind of thinking with some of the point scoring as well to keep it sort of friendly and positive again. And
the format of the show obviously is coming back Sundays, Mondays, and Fridays. So what is different about each night? What can viewers expect?
Well, a lot of it's the Sunday and Monday night shows are where you'll see the top 12 competing, and they'll gain points through the challenges they face there. Most of it will be in the MasterChef kitchen. We will be doing off-site challenges where we take them to could be a restaurant or some other kind of challenge to see them out in the outside world and how they fare at those. What we've tried to do with the junior version of the show is really, people will see it and know it as MasterChef. We've tried to make it a little more unpredictable in the sense of the challenges. There's some quite exciting and surprising challenges that you'll see that you wouldn't have seen in the main show. And we did that on purpose. We really wanted to keep it fresh for the audience. It's kind of, it's just fun sometimes, I think everyone knows the main show, the parent show, so well. Sometimes it's nice, when you think the show's going to turn right, it actually turns left and something else happens. So we've really, everyone will know it as MasterChef, but I think there's quite a few surprises and fun ones at that. That the family will find entertaining. So, and then the Friday nights are really, actually significantly different. Again, because it's the junior masterclass, and the reason it's so different is we're actually bringing in. It won't be the top 12 kids, but we're bringing in young people from different cooking groups around around Sydney and New South Wales, who
Right.
come in and just on the day they get to come in and while George, Gary, Anna cook, they actually go into the kitchen and cook along. And the point being, if these young kids can cook, and cook along with our judges, God, anyone at home could do it as well. So they're simple recipes, but one's packed full of top tips. And there's even at the very in the final, there's 4 of these Friday night episodes, and in the final of those, it's a really exciting. We've got it's a great masterclass. I think it's a 90-minute special, and the way it's going to work is at the end of it, we've got this great thing where George cooks and everyone at home, will be set up with a TV and all the ingredients, and they can actually cook along at home, kids and adults, and cook in real time. The idea being at the end of it that everyone tucks into a yummy plate of food. So it's actually significantly different there, and it's got a really good buzz and vibe to it. So it's really exciting.
Sounds good. Look, in the parent show, we're used to a lot of tears and stuff like that. Can we expect a lot of tears from the kids as we go along, or can I also ask, is it going to be from the parents too? Because the first few episodes that I've watched everything that's been on so far, and it's actually been the parents that have been crying. I can't even remember any kids that have been crying.
No, it seems tears of pride and joy. No, look, you're not going to see the level of, to answer your question, you won't see the level of tears that you see in the parent show. And part of that is because although they're in a competition and there's a certain level of pressure, we've actually tried to ease as much pressure off the kids as we can. Look, and when those that are successful are thrilled, those that don't do as well, they're not as happy. But the strange thing with kids is they bounce back very quickly. And it's amazing seeing some of them who don't do well in one challenge and come back to the next, and they're the best within that challenge. So no, I don't think you'll see the level of tears that you see in the main show, and there's tears, but more tears of joy again when they do get through. They're very happy. So that's yeah.
Well, I guess this will come with the tears as well. But even though you're taking all due consideration in the kids, with the kids' feelings when eliminated, not eliminated, it's elimination, not going to the next phase, next stage, whatever it's called, with the changes that you've made, it must still be a major blow for an 8 to 12-year-old. I was just wondering what happens off camera immediately after an elimination. Maybe as post-care or...
Look, it's almost as much in the pre-care as the post-care, because what we try to do is prepare them all for the fact that, only one person's going to win, and people will go as we go along. So it's getting them into a mindset that, there's only so many that will get through. And it's preparing them for that fact that, I think when you remind them of the fact that 5,500 kids audition between 8 and 12, and they're in the top 12. It sort of brings it back to ground a bit for them, and they sort of go, yeah, actually, I have been really successful. And the experiences they get, and you remind them of all those. Look, they're disappointed when they don't get through, but if they're prepared enough beforehand, and again, they bounce back very quickly from that disappointment. Everyone who leaves gets prizes, and it's interesting because the top 12, each of them gets a trophy, and they're not actually, despite the fact they get all these great prizes aside from the trophy is the one thing they all want. It's kind of like a pride of place kind of thing. So and look, we've got people on hand again from we have a full-time child psychologist on the show.
Yep.
Who not only knows the kids very well but knows their parents really well, and so and she talks throughout the filming process. She's talking on a daily basis with all the parents and the kids, and so usually you can gauge if we think that there might be a problem, or you can head it off beforehand, so that so there's although it might be a major blow, there's the kids can handle it. Put it that way.
All right, a couple of quick questions. Matt Preston's not in all the episodes. I'm just wondering if you can enlighten us on why that is, because he seems so popular with the kids, and will this be the case for the rest of the episodes?
No, look, Matt joins the team. I mean, I think with the introduction of Anna, once we got into the main kitchen, we thought it'd be good to get a couple of weeks in to sort of get ahead with things and then bring Matt in as a bit of a spike. The kids love him, so it's, but he plays a prominent role, certainly, throughout most of the series. It's just when we first come back, he's not there. And it's hard, you got the 4 judges there, that they can only say so many lines each, so I thought it was a good chance to let the audience get to know Anna more. And look, the good thing with Matt is, I know he can say a lot, but sometimes he doesn't say much at all, and just his presence is amazing. So, don't worry, no one's going to miss out on Matt Preston, put it that way.
Excellent. Now, is the whole series in the can already? And if so, are you confident we won't get a leak on who the winner is?
Look, it's all shot. It's all done and dusted. We're still editing some of the back end of the series. Look, obviously there's always a risk that a leak could get out. I think all of us, both Shine and Ten and everyone talking with from the publicity and media point of view, if it did, it'd be nice to think that if it did start to leak at all, that maybe it wouldn't be reported on. I think it would be a shame to ruin that for the audience. So it's always a risk. I just hope it doesn't get out, put it that way.
So are these kids actually trained to go back to school, and then the kids say, "Oh, you're on Junior MasterChef, did you win?" And then the kid says, "Well,
yeah.
I'm not allowed to tell you." What's
It's a bit hard. We just sort of tell them, look, it's a secret, I can't tell you, kind of thing. You'll have to wait and see. Which, to be honest, I think most of the kids quite enjoy that fact, because they've got something over the rest of the school. So, it's a little bit of a distraction. But we've spoken with the schools as well prior to the top 12 coming in. So there's relationships built up there and understanding of what's going ahead. But yeah, it's maybe it's a bit of an advantage in the schoolyard for them that they know something everyone else doesn't. So.
Oh, there you go. With the ratings, it's still the #1 show on Sunday night in week 3, but it's a bit of a drop from the 2 million plus who are watching, I guess, the first episode. What do you sort of attribute this drop to, and do you see the ratings stabilising as the show progresses?
Look, hopefully they'll stabilise. I mean, I think what you've got now is with the top 12, you've got clear characters that you follow on an episode by episode basis. Whereas across the top 50, you see the kids that go through, but you're not really following their story as in such a close way as you do on the shows that we get into the main kitchen. So look, I hope the rating stabilises as the show progresses. I mean, I don't think we're panicked about the drop in the ratings. I think we weren't expecting to get 2.2 million people tune in for the first episode. That was a nice little surprise. And look, if we can keep the numbers, where they are, I think 10 and everyone will be very happy. So not too worried.
The show's a lock-in for next year?
You'll have to ask Channel 10 on that one. But it'd be nice to see it come back, I think. But I think the ratings over the next month will sort of inform whether the show comes back again. But I'd certainly like to see it return.
No worries. I'll put David Mott on the speed dial after the interview. No.
Yeah. Get on the Motty.
That's right. Well, I guess we'll have to see how the ratings do go, though. Next year, tell us about the casting for next year on the main MasterChef series. Can people still apply for the main series?
Look, as far as I'm aware, the actual audition process has already begun. I think the travelling roadshow of auditions or whatever, they're out there. They've been to a few cities already. So, and they're going through a similar process that they have on the previous series. I'd say for people wanting to apply, it's I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's probably too late because they're fair way down the path with the casting. Right. I'm sure there'd be a website you could look at if it is still open. I'm not sure if it'd be on the official website. If there's somewhere on there might be a pointer there, but it may be too late. So I don't know if that's bad news for everyone, but I'm pretty sure they've had a fair few applications come in. So yeah.
No worries. Look, I'll just ask a final question. I mean, there's so many questions I could ask, especially out of this interview. I mean, there's so much going on behind the scenes with the show, which is actually quite interesting, the psychologists and the time durations and stuff like that. But I'll just ask one more question.
Yep.
Just simply, can you give us any scoop on the upcoming episodes of Junior MasterChef? Anything that we can expect? Any surprises, guest stars, anything like that?
Well, I won't give anything away, but we've certainly got some.
Something.
Oh no, we've certainly got some amazing. Look, we've got some great guests who come in, and put it this way, you'll see some of Australia's top chefs competing alongside some of the kids doing things you would never imagine you'd see them do. So it's certainly a fresh take on the main series. Yeah, I can't give too much away, but yeah, there's unexpected things that are going to pop up. For everyone out there, I hope they keep watching.
Well, the kids were loving some of the guest stars so far, because they had Callum coming, didn't they, in episode 2, wasn't it? From the parent series.
Yeah, and look, there's a lot of familiar faces and even some new ones. So there's one thing you might even see is some chefs, not our chefs, but some very well-known chefs coming into the kitchen with their own kids in some of the episodes. So so that might be quite interesting. But look, it's such a feel-good show, and we've had such great support from the all the sort of regular guests from the main show, even more so on this. So it's very exciting. It's good.
All right, well, thanks so much. Looking forward to these new episodes, and judging by the popularity on this side and many others, it seems I'm not the only one, so it's going to be a great return for the show. Paul Franklin, thanks for joining me, and good luck with the rest of the series.
Thanks, Aaron. Really good to speak to you. Cheers, mate.
No worries. Paul Franklin, Director of Programming at Shine Australia there with all the Junior MasterChef goss. The show returns this Sunday at 7:30pm on 10 and continues Mondays and Fridays. That is all from this podcast. Until next time, I'm Aaron Ryan for tvcentral.com.au. See you then.